Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So welcome everyone again for another reading of Bhagavatam, Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavatam Bites. We're here at I guess a semi-famous place. Probably you recognize something pretty large and famous. So anyway, it's relatively nice day. Tower Bridge.
In case you don't know.
And you can kind of see the Tower of London a little bit. So lots of history here in London, and right in front of us we're sitting outside of the is it mayor?
London mayor.
Yeah, the mayor of London's office. So maybe Mr. Sadiq Khan might see us and hear a little bit of Bhagavatam.
Yeah, it'd be good for him.
So anyway, we're going to move from history and politics.
Let's say hello to a very special viewer that we bumped into.
Oh yeah.
Karishma?
No, Krishma.
Krishma, I'm sorry. We just bumped into her today.
It was her first day at a new job. And,
yeah. So if you're watching, thank you for watching. It's lovely to meet you, and I hope your first day went really well.
Okay. All right, so where are we at in the Bhagavatam?
Canto 3, Chapter 13, Text 43, which is the appearance. Oh, I did mark it. The appearance of Lord Varaha.
And it's Lord Varaha's appearance coming up, right?
Friday.
On Friday.
Yeah.
Wow, isn't this great? Krishna just makes such amazing... Well, of course, by the time you're seeing
You'll see this on a Monday.
Yeah, just
so
after
it would have gone.
Varaha's appearance. So, there you go, and there you have it. But anyway, our lives are aligned. So, of course, that's only if you're watching it on the temple Facebook, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so... Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Text 43. Who else but you, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, could deliver the earth from within the water? It is not very wonderful for you, however, because you acted most wonderfully in the creation of the universe. By your energy, you have created this wonderful cosmic manifestation. Purport. When a scientist discovers something impressive to the ignorant mass of people, the common man, without inquiry, accepts such a discovery as wonderful. But the intelligent man is not struck with wonder by such discoveries. He gives all credit to the person who created the wonderful brain of the scientist. A common man is also struck with wonder by the wonderful action of material nature, and he gives all credit to the cosmic manifestation. The learned Krishna-conscious person, however, knows well that behind the cosmic manifestation is the brain of Krishna, as confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 9:10. Maya dhyakshena prakriti suyate sacharacharam. Since Krishna can direct the wonderful cosmic manifestation, it is not at all wonderful for him to assume the gigantic form of a bull, and thus deliver the earth from the mire of the water. A devotee is therefore not astonished to see the wonderful bull, because he knows that the Lord is able to act far more wonderfully by his potencies, which are inconceivable to the brain of even the most erudite scientist.
Thoughts?
Yeah, it's true. It's like, what's the big deal if he comes as a bull? It's like created, like we're sitting here now, if you just take one strand of grass and just put that under the microscope, and it's very, all the different fibres and veins.
Complex
and that's just one blade of grass. So, and I assure you it was no Stephen Hawkins or whatever that did that. I just want to say.
Okay.
No, it's true though. I'm sorry. Everyone takes the credit for the end product, but I need to know who created the product in the first place. And I'm not accepting it just happened in a big bang. I'm not accepting it, because I've got more of a brain. Don't scientists get me wound up.
Okay, we'll move on now. Text 44. O Supreme Lord, undoubtedly we are inhabitants of the most pious planets. So remember, these are prayers being offered by the exalted souls who are inhabiting the higher planets when they see what's going on with first the boar coming out of Lord Brahma's nose, and then which shit I'd like to hear about, and then diving into the water after it becomes huge, as big as, stretching from Swarga Loka, and he lifts the earth on his tusk. So, O Supreme Lord, undoubtedly we are inhabitants of the most pious planets, the Jana, Tapas, and Satya Lokas. But still we have been purified by the drops of water sprinkled from your shoulder hairs by the shaking of your body. So, I don't know. It's always been nasty, if a dog goes in the water and then he comes out and he goes like that. And that's what Lord Boar did. That's what Varaha did. And he shook. And then that water, because he's so huge, it actually went to the planets, the Jana Loka, Mahaloka, and Satya Loka. Or Jana Loka, Tapas Loka. Ordinarily, the body of a hog is considered impure, but one should not consider that the hog incarnation assumed by the Lord is also impure. That form of the Lord is the personified Vedas and is transcendental. The inhabitants of the Jana, Tapas, and Satya Lokas are the most pious persons in the material world. But because those planets are situated in the material world, there are so many material impurities there also. Interesting. Therefore, when the drops of water from the tips of the Lord's shoulder hairs were sprinkled upon the bodies of the inhabitants of the higher planets, they felt purified. The Ganges water is pure because of its emanating from the toe of the Lord, and there is no difference between the water emanating from the toe and that from the tips of the hair on the shoulder of Lord Boar. They are both absolute and transcendental. Just thinking I need to double check, because I think that Friday it's not Varaha Dwadasi. We're really sorry. That happens around Nityananda Trayodasi. It's Vamana Dwadasi, and I always get those two mixed up.
They both begin with V.
And A. Apologies. So it's not Varaha Dwadasi. And for those of you who are out there going, what are they talking about? That's not right. Then you were correct. And we apologize. We're really sorry.
And we apologize to Varaha.
Yeah. But of course, we're reading about him. So his appearance is happening right now as we speak. But it's actually Vamana Dev. So our lives are not as lined up as we thought.
Oh dear.
Excuse me. So anyway, I would say the significant point here is that, again, stressing that just because he's in a boar form does not mean he's impure, but the boars of this world are definitely impure, and it's quite a low birth. So the inhabitants of these higher planets, when they got sprinkled with the water, they didn't feel contaminated, they actually felt purified.
Text 45. O Lord, there is no limit to your wonderful activities. Anyone who desires to know the limit of your activities is certainly nonsensical. Everyone in this world is conditioned by the powerful mystic potencies. Please bestow your causeless mercy upon these conditioned souls. Purport. Mental speculators who want to understand the limit of the unlimited are certainly nonsensical. Every one of them is captivated by the external potencies of the Lord. The best thing for them is to surrender unto Him, knowing Him to be inconceivable, for thus they can receive His causeless mercy. This prayer was offered by the inhabitants of the higher planetary systems, namely the Jana, Tapas, and Satya Lokas, who are far more intelligent and powerful than humans.
Vishwam Samastam is very significant here. There are the material world and the spiritual world. The sages pray, quote, both worlds are bewildered by your different energies. Those who are in the spiritual world are absorbed in your loving service, forgetting themselves and you also. And those in the material world are absorbed in material sense gratification and therefore also forget you. No one can know you because you are unlimited. It is best not to try to know you by unnecessary mental speculation. Rather, kindly bless us so that we can worship you with causeless devotional service. So that's interesting. So it's basically saying those in the spiritual world are so absorbed in your loving service that they forget themselves and they forget you also, how great you are. Now I guess this means specifically Goloka, because I think in the other Vaikuntha planets, then of course they're perpetually in awe and reverence of the Lord. Now I mean they may become so absorbed that they forget themselves, and maybe the Lord also, I guess, in one sense, but in Goloka Vrindavan, then of course they're so absorbed in the Lord's Leela and pastime that they don't even think of the Lord as the Lord. They just think of him as little Krishna, baby Krishna, adolescent Krishna, and like that, or Prince Krishna in Dwarka. Some thoughts? Anything from your side?
Yes. Yeah, I agree.
Okay. Go 46.
Text 46. The sage Maitreya said, the Lord being thus worshipped by all the great sages and transcendentalists touched the earth with his hooves and placed it on the water. The purport, the earth was placed on the water by his inconceivable potency. The Lord is all powerful and therefore he can sustain the huge planets either on the water or in the air as he likes. The tiny human brain cannot conceive how these potencies of the Lord can act. Man can give some vague explanation of the laws by which such phenomena are made possible, but actually the tiny human brain is unable to conceive of the activities of the Lord, which are therefore called inconceivable. Yet the frog philosophers still try to give some imaginary explanation. Isn't that the case? Isn't that?
Don't get her started.
But it's true. It's like you have to accept that there's an inconceivable aspect to the absolute truth. You can't put him in a box and explain his activities. That's matter. The grass will grow here, the flowers, the light, the moon, the sun, which in itself is amazing that someone has programmed that. Someone has scheduled that. We need to ignore that because we're frog philosophers. So let's ignore the fact that that matter in itself is working so wonderfully. But beyond that, the absolute truth, of course he's inconceivable. You would expect that to be a trait of the Supreme Lord, of the absolute truth. You have to accept that you can't accept.
Oh, you're so deep. I mean, it's inconceivable how deep you are. Text 47. In this manner, the personality of Godhead, Lord Vishnu, the maintainer of all living entities, raised the earth from within the water, and having placed it afloat on the water, he returned to his own abode. So it's so cool. He can just show up, do what he needs to do, and then he's out of there. So
he rolls.
So what's what?
He rolls.
He rolls. Okay. The personality of Godhead, Lord Vishnu, descends by his will to the material planets in his innumerable incarnations for particular purposes, and again he goes back to his own abode. When he descends, he is called an avatar, because avatar means one who descends. Neither the Lord himself nor his specific devotees who come to this earth are ordinary living entities like us. Prabhupada says like us, but we know Prabhupada's not an ordinary living entity. But in his humility he is. But when we read it, it means like us, because we're also definitely ordinary, below ordinary. Is that a goat?
Sound like, didn't it? Sound like a goat. Text 48. If one hears and describes in a devotional service attitude this auspicious narration of Lord Bore, which is worthy of description, the Lord who is within the heart of everyone is very pleased.
Wow, that's great. So, hold on. If one hears and describes so first if you hear this or if you describe it, but we have to be in a devotional service attitude. Okay, so we might have to go back and read it again, but we are trying. This auspicious narration, which is worthy of description. The Lord who is within the heart of everyone is very... So we're pleasing the Lord by reading this, and you're pleasing the Lord by hearing this. So just try to hear in a devotional mood, and we will try to read more and more in a devotional mood.
In his various incarnations, the Lord appears, acts and leaves behind him a narrative history which is as wonderful as he himself. Every one of us is fond of hearing some wonderful narration, but most stories are neither auspicious nor worth hearing because they are of the inferior quality of material nature. Every living entity is of superior quality spirit soul, and nothing material can be auspicious for him. Intelligent persons should therefore hear personally and cause others to hear the descriptive narrations of the Lord's activities, and for that will destroy the pangs of material existence. Out of his causeless mercy only, the Lord comes to this earth and leaves behind his merciful activities so that the devotees may derive transcendental benefit.
So he accomplishes so many things, right, by coming. So he's lifted the earth out of the deluge, but at the same time he leaves behind this amazing pastime that we can talk about. And we see that, we're all attracted by different things. Just think like, in the cinema world, you got films like King Kong and Godzilla and what other like big kind of monster hero type things,
Swamp Man.
Okay. There's something out there. Swamp Man, yeah, but I meant, yeah, okay. Anyway, so there are these, especially King Kong and Godzilla, not, they're mundane, but people are attracted to these things, right? People pay millions of pounds to go and watch these narrations. But here you have the Lord. He's the original kind of personification of this kind of great hero that's in an animal form, which I think is called, what's it called? A zoomorphism. It's not zoomorphism, but it would be fit into that category, which means that you equate human-like characteristics to an animal. So like that, then the animal has this kind of trait to be the hero or something. But for Krishna, he's not really zoomorphic because he's God. He can do whatever he likes. I'm rambling a bit, yes?
Yes.
I'll stop. So you read that all the way through? So we're on 49? Because there's only a couple of pages left. So
I know, but...
Yeah, I think we can. Text 50. Fitty, mate. Fitty. Who, other than one who is not... Is that right?
No. 49.
Oh, is it 49?
Yeah.
Nothing remains unachieved when the Supreme Personality of Godhead is pleased. So there you go. With someone. Nothing remains unachieved when the Supreme Personality of Godhead is pleased with someone. By transcendental achievement, one understands everything else to be insignificant. One who engages in transcendental loving service is elevated to the highest perfectional stage by the Lord himself, who is seated in everyone's heart. Okay, so the Lord is nothing is unaccomplishable by one who has pleased the Lord. And if the Lord is pleased with someone, and when we achieve something transcendental, everything else becomes insignificant. And when we engage in devotional service, we become elevated to the highest perfectional stage by the Lord himself within our heart. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 10:10. Anyone knows that? We were just reciting this last night in the car journey home after some awesome kirtan festival. Tesham Sadada Yuktanam Bhajatam Pradipurvikam Dadami Buddhi Yogam Tam Gainamam Upayantite. The Lord gives intelligence to the pure devotees so that they may be elevated to the highest perfectional stage. It is confirmed herein that a pure devotee who constantly engages in the loving service of the Lord is awarded all knowledge necessary to reach the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Wonderful. So we'll get all the knowledge we need to go to Him if we're sincere in performing devotional service. For such a devotee, there is nothing valuable to be achieved but the Lord's service. There you go. So everything else pales in comparison. If one serves faithfully, there is no possibility of frustration because the Lord Himself takes charge of the devotee's advancement. Yeah, so you can't fail because the Lord will make it happen. It's a plane flying overhead. It's a little bit loud, right? Some crazy noise. Sure. The Lord is seated in everyone's heart, and He knows the devotee's motive and arranges everything achievable. In other words, a pseudo-devotee who is anxious to achieve material gains cannot attain the highest perfectional stage because the Lord is in knowledge of his motive. One merely has to become sincere in his purpose, and then the Lord is there to help in every way. There you go. It's like what we were talking about earlier. Just become sincere and the Lord will help us. So we need to become sincere, though. Sincere means sincere, free from wax, means basically free from ulterior motive. Our motive must really be to actually please and satisfy Krishna, and He'll take care of everything else. Yes, interesting.
Text 50. Who other than one who is not a human being can exist in this world and not be interested in the ultimate goal of life? Who can refuse the nectar of narrations about the personality of Godhead's activities, which by itself can deliver one from all material pangs? Well put. The narration of the activities of the personality of Godhead is like a constant flow of nectar. No one can refuse to drink such nectar except one who is not a human being. Devotional service to the Lord is the highest goal of life for every human being, and such devotional service begins by hearing about the transcendental activities of the personality of Godhead.
Haribo, which is what we're doing.
Only an animal or a man who is almost an animal in behavior
Yeah, dupadapasa, two-legged animal,
can refuse to take an interest in hearing the transcendental message of the Lord. There are many books of stories and histories in the world, but except for the histories or narrations on the topics of the personality of Godhead, none are capable of diminishing the burden of material pangs. Therefore, one who is serious about eliminating material existence must chant and hear of the transcendental activities of the personality of Godhead. Otherwise, one must be compared to the non-humans.
Wow.
Jeepers. Mate.
Yeah. Means you're not even human. If you can't listen and hear the glories of the Lord being sung, you know, you're not on the human platform, because human platform means to come to the platform of really understanding that the goal of life is to hear about God and glorify God, and especially for us to glorify Krishna and chant Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports of the third canto, 13th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled The Appearance of Lord Varaha. Wow, so we finished another chapter. And now, chapter 14 we'll start next time, is Pregnancy of Diti in the Evening. Ooh, this is a very, very interesting pastime, so you'll want to tune in for that. Yeah. He agrees. Okay, thank you all very much. We're coming up to, and I guess next week, by the time you're seeing this on the temple website, it will be too late to get something for Bhadra Pranim, but still you can order a Srimad Bhagavatam set if you want. Please let us know, we'll get it to you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.